So I've been laughing about you talking about womb healing and phrasing your questions to me. First of all, I'd like to say I'm so pleased to be able to come and talk to you. I don't know why so many people just don't bother, and it's really nice to have people who are going to come and talk to me and to have a bit of a discussion. I do miss that. See, I communicate a lot with my daughter and other people who are part of my groups, people I had connections with. But this is quite unusual, so thank you.
Thank you for coming.
And you were asking about womb healing.
Yes.
It's quite an interesting one, an interesting opening gambit. And quite specific. So sacral, the womb area, is the most overlooked of the chakras, in my opinion and from my view here. And people, when they're undergoing spiritual transformation, spiritual awakening, they always focus on the third eye and the heart. And the sacral gets forgotten about. For women in particular, or people who identify as a woman, because don't forget, people who identify as a woman also have a womb space. The sacral, the womb space, is very important. As you were talking about earlier, that is where trauma is stored. But also power, intuition, creativity, strength. All those attributes for creatrix, for a woman who brings forth life into this world, and not just women who bring life in the form of children, people who identify as women, who give birth to books, who give birth to paintings, to poetry, to play scripts, to films. It's not just about creating and giving birth to babies, although that is vitally important. A whole universe resides within a woman's womb, which is why it is so important that this message now gets out and that women appreciate and are reminded and become aware, and people who identify as women. Whenever I say women, I also mean people who identify as women. That's why it's so important that this subject is broached. It's not just about sex or reproduction. It's about power. It's about sovereignty over your own body. It's about all those attributes and skills that women, or those who identify as women, possess, that have been forgotten and sort of deprogrammed by the patriarchy, by the men in control, who didn't want women to know their power, so they wanted women to forget their power. And that's where you get the phenomenon of menstrual shaming, where society shames women because they menstruate. Why menstruation's become something dirty. It's something powerful. Menstrual blood contains stem cells. And it's just thrown away. Because scientists have yet to discover, or even have yet to decide to discover, it's not even being thought about, being talked about. There's a whole empire of power residing in your darkest space, and it's overlooked, not acknowledged, and unremembered. That's why womb healing is so important. And women are beginning to see this. It's important that this process continues. The world's forgotten, but the body has not. Now it's time to align our brains and our thought processes, align them to our bodies, because our bodies, your bodies, remember. And it's time to make those links again. It's all in you already. It just needs uncovering. Is there anything else you'd like to ask?
Thank you for what you've said. It's mind-blowing. Any advice that you can give us as a group to help with womb healing in others?
It's a subject that has to be broached tentatively. When you mention the word womb or vagina, women get embarrassed, and that's because of the conditioning of society. So it needs to be broached in a very careful way. You need to start small with women who understand, women whose eyes are open, who are remembering the emotions in their body, who are remembering in their body how things used to be. And then gradually this will build. Eventually it will become mainstream, but there's a long way yet. But you have the strength, you have the power, you have ancestors of women supporting you, who are so joyful that your group has come about.
Thank you. Are there any physical things that we can do to help the spiritual process in womb healing?
Women themselves, I don't want to be issuing edicts here, but there are physical things that women can do themselves. Things that were done in the past, like yoni steaming, yoni crystals. But what's most important is for women to connect to their bodies through meditation. And also through talking about these things with other like-minded women, bringing these things out into the open so that there's no shame or embarrassment anymore. Does that answer your question?
Thank you, Dolores, for advising us and connecting with us. Can you tell us, will we need to seek out the women that need our help, or will they naturally gravitate to us?
The women will find you.
Right, thank you very much.
Starting the conversation is the important thing. Once you start talking about these things, women will gravitate towards you, like you said, and they will want to hear what you've got to say. And that will spread, and then will be the time for working with collective groups of women to enable them to reach their full power again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just want to say, from my viewpoint, from where I am now, there are similar groups of women to yours, working in different countries, working towards roughly the same end goals. You're forming a web of love across the world, and eventually you will be able to connect with these women, these groups, not just women, as I said before, who identify as women. And the way to visualise it is like a ring of love or a ring of energy, like the internet or telephone lines across the world, all glowing, all linking to each other. It's wonderful that you found your tribe, and also I feel gratitude that other women across the world have also found theirs, and together this energy will build, these connections will build, and starting from this small way, you're going to help raise the consciousness of you working together, united. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.